show people the face that I wanted them to see or thought that I was supposed to. And ironically, I had a lot of success with that for a long time. I was that insufferable kid that never went to the principal's office because he was too afraid to get in trouble, always got good grades, got into the career that I wanted to get into. Things progressed well. My income rose year after year for a long time. I got married, had the house, had 2 kids, had 2 cars. We've heard similar stories here tonight. So from the outside in, it probably looked like I'd checked all the boxes of how to do what I'd set out to do, to really win at life. Which is why it always seemed kind of puzzling to me that I still felt like there was still so much to kind of suck up and push down. There was just sort of this constant feeling like happiness and contentment was maybe around the next corner, or it might happen after we, did that next thing. What I found out was that those feelings, those things I categorize as ashes, they're kind of like taxes, in that we can choose to deal with them now, or we get to deal with them later. And I didn't know that that was a choice, but I was choosing later. In 2010, the tax collector came for the first time. I found out that when I push a lot of that stuff down, when I suck it up and do the good and noble thing, that does something to you. So the first to leave me was my body. I got really ill. I landed in the hospital and was there for a stretch. What did I do? Probably should have just done nothing for a good long while, but that wasn't my operating system. So I sucked it up and rocketed right back to work, because that's what good, noble, tough guys do. Well, it was a short time after that, just a few months later, that my wife, of almost 12 years at that time, revealed to me that she had entered another relationship, and we were headed for separation and divorce. I tried to suck that up too. I'm going to be the good and noble husband. I can fix this. I'm going to forgive this infidelity, and we'll keep the family together for the kids. We'll do what's right, or so I thought what was right. And I tried that for a few months till it became clear that that wasn't going to work. So I left the house that my wife of the time and I owned, and then moved in with my mother. And right at that time was when the company that I'd helped create and had worked to build from the ground up over the previous half-decade scaled itself back and put me out of a job. So within the course of about 6 months, after almost 4 decades of sucking it up, not getting in trouble, paying my bills, paying my taxes, loving my wife, not coming out in a public forum and cursing at complete and total strangers, I thought I was a good person. But then all of the things that I had achieved, that I had deliberately done, that I thought I was supposed to have or do or be, to be happy or really live that winning life, was just a flaming pile of wreckage all around me. Everything that I had my self-esteem and sense of identity attached to was gone. And when I thought about moving forward, I only knew that one way to live and to act, which was suck it up. I didn't know any other tricks. I'd played all my cards. And so when I thought about how I was supposed to go forward, I literally at my mother's house was thinking, what the hell am I supposed to do now? Well, for a while, I stopped sucking it up because I was just out of energy, and I just kind of existed. But some little steps forward, I started getting counseling. I began reading books about communication and relationships and emotional maturity, all the kinds of things that I didn't have much vocabulary on, I found out, for about 4 decades. And I started taking courses, things like that. But it was something much more simple than that turned the tide. I did something that I think a lot of us probably do when we want to feel better, when we want to have a Saturday like WT, maybe even on a Wednesday. You put a movie on that you think is going to make you feel good. So I cycled through some of those, and one of them that I realized I don't think I'd ever seen all the way through, start to finish, probably in bits and pieces like on the old superstations or something like that, but never start to finish, was the original Rocky film from 1976. Do you know who I mean? Evan is all about Rocky over here. Sylvester Stallone, the boxer, the Italian stallion, Adrian, Rocky. And I'm not a violent guy. I don't like boxing. But talk about the picture of strength and noble and winning. Here is this heavyweight boxer, strong man in a violent sport who imposes his will to win. A tough guy. And I thought, in retrospect, that actually looks a lot like Suck It Up. Maybe that wasn't the best movie for me to choose. But I watched it, and two things immediately stood out to me. The first is, and there's a spoiler coming here in case anybody would like to step out of the room. You've had over 40 years to see this film, but I still want to give you some warning. The original Rocky from 1976 is still viewed as one of the most inspirational entries in cinematic history. It moves some people to tears. When I got to the end of it, I wondered why, because Rocky doesn't win at the end. He gets an opportunity. There was a gasp. Oh no, he ruined my Wednesday. He gets a chance to fight for the heavyweight championship of the world. He doesn't win. People get moved to tears. I thought that was interesting. But the other thing I actually picked up, watching all the subsequent films, which took a while. There are about roughly 23 of them now. Actually, I think they're up to 7th with another spin-off coming out this fall. But in every single one of them, if you watch and you pay attention, you'll see a certain animal in every single one, right up on the big screen. Turtles. Here's a guy nicknamed the Italian Stallion. One of the theme songs from the third film is Eye of the Tiger. Bam, bam, bam. In every single one of those Rocky films, and even the spin-off called Creed, turtles. Rocky has pet turtles. Why, I wondered, does Rocky have pet turtles? Could it be a coincidence, I wondered? Now, on one hand, he was in love with the woman that worked at the pet shop, Adrian, and he wanted to have any excuse that he could to go and see her. So he wanted to go and buy pet food. But see, he could have done that with a mouse, a gerbil, a hamster, a guinea pig, a dog, a cat, a goldfish. Why a turtle? So I did with that sort of a version of the exercise of where we started the night with the phoenix, and I asked Google this time, what comes to mind? What does a turtle stand for? What's the mythology of? And I immediately understood. If you do that and you look into what a turtle stands for, you will find things like wisdom, endurance, perseverance, innocence, which I kind of take to mean really being yourself, motherhood, which is akin to nurturing, I think. Very few natural predators. Who couldn't like Rocky? And maybe most importantly, completely present at every single step of a very long journey. So present, in fact, that it literally carries its home on its back. Then I began thinking about that old fable that I bet you know, about the tortoise and the hare. And we all know who comes out ahead in that particular competition. If you've ever seen Rocky, I wonder if you watch it with a different lens and ask yourself, the fact that he doesn't win notwithstanding, between Rocky and Apollo Creed, the big flash and dash guy, who's the tortoise and who's the hare? Rocky's trying to tell us he's the turtle. As for the not winning part, I realized this isn't about winning. It's about living. And I've learned and I've heard stories, and so have you here tonight, of so many of us and all the things that we try to acquire, try to experience, or try to do or be that we think is going to make us winners, that you can win without really feeling like you're living when that little burst of serotonin or adrenaline falls away fast and leaves you wanting. But my experience has been you can't really feel alive, like you're comfortable inside your own skin, doing what you were meant to do with the people that you love. To heck with what is right for anybody else, but knowing that you're running your race like that tortoise. You can't really feel it like you're living without also feeling like you're winning. That was the moment that my operating system changed from when I hit those adversities, from going from suck it up to looking for my wings, that I got to take another look. They're around here somewhere. And let these ashes go. Rise like a phoenix. Race like a turtle. Go at my pace. Run my race and take my time.